Welcome to WordPress, the series. This is Imran Nanlawala of Digital Learning Partners, and I have the smiling man himself, Yusuf Chowdhury, who's smiling right now. How you doing, Yusuf? I think you're still on mute, brother. I think he's gonna do something impressive and amazing for us right now. There we go. I can only imagine what he's saying.
I was speaking like a Chinese, like, how are you?
So, are we ready to go over the top, my friend?
Of course, man, all the time, man.
All right. So just a quick review for everybody. So this is WordPress the series, everything you need to know about WordPress to build a successful website. We've already discussed why WordPress. We talked about the percentage of websites that are using WordPress on the internet, which is a high percentage. We talked about the difference between WordPress.com versus .org. One is more geared towards hosting and providing you a service to manage your website, while the other is a resource that shows you and demonstrates the different plugins and themes that are available for WordPress, lets you also download them, gives you feedback on the people who are utilizing them, their reviews and whatnot. And today we're going to be talking about themes, premium themes versus free themes. So Yusuf, anything you want to add or say before we start with the conversation on themes?
Was it the free versus premium? I think that's next week, man. Today's just about the theme, isn't it?
No. I mean, oh, you're right. My bad, man. It's also in a rectangular for me, and a rectangle, and I missed it, brother. Yeah, just the theme.
So, all right, we can jump there, no problem.
Sure, I guess. And we got our friend Charles on. Charles, how you doing, brother? Thanks for being on again. If you leave that like and subscribe, that would be an appreciated, or the share.
Yeah, Charles, if you can share this and invite some of your cool colleagues and friends and developers and businesses, we would highly appreciate it.
So Yusuf, when we talk about themes, so I'm going to give a little introduction, and then you take us from there. But essentially, okay, I think the best way to talk about it is talking about to introduce a difference between a theme and a plugin, right? Because people generally, I feel, confuse the two at times. And I would say a theme looks like something that is more aesthetic. It's something that kind of customizes the way the website looks and works in some ways, while a plugin is something that actually changes the interactivity or functionality of the website. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. And to explain it simply, a theme basically, like back in the old day, we used to call it template. It's basically a template for your website based on specific niches. So let's say you want to design for blogging, so there's a theme or template for that. If you let's say want to sell product online, like a e-commerce type of design template, there's a template for that. If you are in the dental industry or chiropractor or attorney, for example, and so there's a template for that. So the template itself, or the theme, it's just the layout, the design of the pages, okay, that consist of coding, consist of graphics, consist of some type of script and a style sheet, right? So in the WordPress genre or in the WordPress world, we call it theme, but in reality, it's just a template.
So it's something that, like you mentioned, you brought up the dental example, you brought up the e-commerce example. It's something that if you get a free or premium version, you don't have to design your website from scratch. It's already going to give you some general look and feel of the website.
That is true. And next week, we're going to extensively talk about the difference between the free themes and the premium. The beautiful thing about WordPress, that it comes with more than possibly 20,000 templates. Okay, and these themes or these templates, if you go to the WordPress.org website, or if you install the WordPress to your domain through the hosting and log in on the back end, there's an option called Appearance. And when you click on the Appearance, then you click on Themes, you will see a variety of different kind of templates that you can use. And if you don't even have a WordPress right now, and if you want to see how they look like, you can always go to WordPress.org and click themes from there and see what kind of designs is available.
So whether you go on from the back end or whether you go to the WordPress.org and you search them, how should somebody approach choosing a theme? And I know next week we're going to go into a little bit about the difference between free and paid. But I guess in today's video might be a little bit short because I don't know how much we can actually discuss until we go into the details on free versus premium. But should we be looking for themes that are highly reviewed, highly ranked? Should we be looking for developers or those organizations that have developed these themes that have been doing it for a while? Should we just anything we find should we install? How would you approach that?
That is an excellent question, and I'm so happy that you asked that, because, and you're absolutely correct. So the first thing first, before selecting any template or any theme, remember how in the beginning we talked about who is your target audience,
Yep.
what is your offer, what is your solution, how do you want the website visitor to basically behave, or when they come to the website, how do you want them to do certain things on the website?
Right.
So when you look at the themes, let's say you go to, for example, the WordPress.org, which is the free version. When you go to that portion of the site, you can look at what's most popular, what's the latest, how many downloads, what are the conversation about that particular theme, what kind of reviews they got. Is it easy for you to communicate with the developer? Because the most beautiful thing, these templates, believe it or not, these are amazing geek and nerd WordPress developers that kindly made these for us for free.
Yep.
So I mean, it's like giving back to the community, right? So they make these templates for free, so you can use it without even paying them. And now, when somebody asks how do they make their money, well, they have a premium version right now. So they can, if you can upgrade or pay them for more services, but in reality, it's free. And a lot of time when I teach students how to use WordPress as a beginner, right, I always tell them just, get the free version of the template for now, log in on the back end, and understand how every single options, features, section works, right? That's the one thing. Secondly, you have to understand the difference between something called a parent theme or parent template and a child theme or a child template. Okay, so what's the difference? If you install any theme, let's say premium or free, which we're going to discuss next week, if there is a theme, let's say it's called parent, it comes with a certain design, like certain banner, right? So certain sidebar, certain layout. And the only changes that you can do is just change the images and add the content, right? When WordPress releases an update and you do the update, it doesn't break the site.
I was just going to ask you that question. What happens if you now update your theme, but you've already built out your website? So,
yeah, excellent question. So if the layout is as it is, the only thing you change is just the images and the content, and you update it, consistently anytime WordPress releases an update. If you update it, it doesn't break the website. Now, when does it break the website? If you customized the parent theme, let's say you know a little bit of coding, or you hire somebody who doesn't understand WordPress a little bit, because I've seen that happen from other PHP developers where they worked on a parent theme, they completely changed the whole design. Like, that doesn't even look like how it was when you download it as a specific template design, correct? So when WordPress released their core element update and you do the update, it basically goes back to how it was. So how can I avoid this problem? To avoid this problem, you have to create a copy of the parent theme. We call this child theme, okay? And when you're gonna do that, you're gonna apply this only if you are going to fully customize everything, right? If you hire somebody to completely change the layout, like completely how it won't look like how it looks like, then you have to get a copy called a child theme. So on the back end, you'll have a parent theme inactive and the child theme is active. So anytime WordPress releases an update, you do an update, it doesn't break because the parent theme will get the update and the child theme will stay as it is. Okay, but this is only if you completely change everything. And the reason I mentioned this, because some inexperienced developer that doesn't understand how WordPress works, this is a common mistake that they do. So if you hire somebody who's a student, just graduated from programming and coding, they want to do an internship or whatnot, tell them, okay, I have this WordPress, I can hire you for an internship. And by the way, you can go to internship.com and hire somebody for internship, okay? And just tell them, hey, make sure you make a child theme version of this parent theme and just customize it however you want to do it. And the cool thing about WordPress, which we're going to talk about this later, that there's a plugin for that. Okay, so you can make a child theme version of the parent theme, right? So this is the technical side we're talking about. But when you select the theme, The most important thing before you select the team, as we mentioned before, what you offer, who's your target audience, what you want to do for them. Make sure that you have all the content ready. I cannot stress so much that even every time I do a workshop for like 2 days on WordPress, I tell all the students, man, bring your content. Bring me a content about your company, about your services, a couple of blog posts, right? Bring the content and add on the back end. Then you can just basically play with different templates. You can change to different templates, see how it works, but at least have some sort of content added, even if the template doesn't look good, right? Because your objective is not just aesthetic. Your objective is not just, oh, I want to make those looks very nice, which is true. Partially, it's true. But your objective is, I want to attract my target audience, come to my website so they can become my, paying customers for product or services, right? So a lot of people that don't want to use, let's say they don't want to learn the code in all the detail. There's we're going to talk about this later on, the popular plugin called, for example, Elementor or Divi. Actually, Divi, it's a premium. That means you have to pay for it. But I believe Elementor has a free version that you can try and use it because it's like drag and drop. You know what I mean?
So now Elementor has a plugin and a theme.
Yes. The company, it's a premium theme. We're going to talk about next week. We'll talk about the most popular premium themes, free themes. But initially, if you're learning, there's no need for you to buy themes unless if you're in business. What I mean by that, you have the money, you have a cash, you establish business, you want to work with somebody, then yeah, you can pay a couple of $1,000 for have somebody to build it for you. But if you're a student, you want to learn how to do this, my advice is just, do the basic minimum, go on the back end, just know everything of the back end. Like, in fact, when I do a workshop on WordPress here local in San Antonio, I do it in the weekend for like probably 8 hours straight. We go through every single thing on the back end. Once you log in, what is the page? What is the post? What is the media? We go through everything because I want the student to understand how it functions, right? Then after that, you can decide whether you want to get into coding classes or you just want to do things through drag and drop, because at the end of the day, your customer, they don't care how you build. All they care a functional, fast website that can deliver what your client wants.
The finished product is all they care about.
Yes, they don't care how you build it. Because remember, you asked this interesting question a couple of weeks ago when we talked about how many programs out there. There's like, HTML, XML, CSS, JavaScript, Drupal and Rails, CMS, and Expression Edge. And now I believe Charles is working on a platform called Webflow, which is really interesting. So there's so many applications out there, right? Most of your customer really, really don't care, especially the clients that want to pay you monthly to maintain and manage, and they don't want to involve with it. Who cares, right? So this is what you look for. So when you build those for the first time, go to the drawing board. What kind of content I'm going to put, and what do I want the visitor to do when they come to the website? If you keep it simple, like they say, less is more. Start from there, right? So that's all I have to say.
So I guess the most important thing to keep in mind is that before you choose your theme, it's like you said, come up with all the content first and figure out how your website works. Now, to go off of that parent and child analogy that you gave, refresh my memory. There's also a way to work on a staging copy. So should people be installing staging copies of their websites and work on staging copies as opposed to experimenting on the actual website?
That is a very beautiful question. So what happened depends on your hosting provider. Some hosting provider have an option where you can install the WordPress, something called staging, which is something not publicly available. So it's basically your own private link. You can install on it and keep building it, and that's how you do it, right? Some of the developers, there are 5 ways to install WordPress, for example. Some of the developers, what they do, they install the WordPress application locally on their machine, and they build everything on their PC or desktop, laptop or desktop, right? Sometimes they use a virtual server. So Mac has its own application for virtual server, and the PC has its own application for virtual server. They install it there, and they work from there. Once it's ready, then they upload it to the server. Another technique, there are some companies, like Pavilia, I think, where you can build it there. It's a public, like web-based service. You build it there, but you can show it to your customers so they can, mess and play with it. That's another option. Or what I do sometimes is like for my clients, I basically create a subdomain and upload everything there on my server, and so they can see it. Okay. A 5th option, you can install it on your domain, but you can also add a plugin called Coming Soon. So if you add the Coming Soon plugin, Even if accidentally people kind of saw your website or visited, it's going to be coming soon. But when you work on it, when you log in on the back end, nobody can see that. So those are some of the ways that you can actually do.
Here's a question I have. So now imagine people take one of those scenarios to build a website for their customers. But now the builder, the web developer, has installed premium themes and or premium plugins. When that now is transferred over, how do you transfer it over with those premium installations?
That's a very beautiful question. So whatever you build, let's say on the server stage, and you move it to the domain, it moves with it, because you're just basically transferring, you're migrating everything. So everything goes to the main domain, right? So what is going to happen with this premium theme, you either have to charge the client on a yearly basis, or you can make the client pay for it. So the client can pay for the premium theme licensing, which is, some of them are like per year, some of them lifetime. In some agencies, like myself, we have some themes and plugins that we can install it on multiple clients, so the client don't have to pay for it. So anytime update comes through, we'll basically update it and don't charge the customer. So that is up to the developer how they want to run the business.
So next week, when we go into the premium versus free, can we maybe do a screen share so we can show them practical examples and differences between, so for example, premium and free? Like you mentioned Divi, there's also Astra. I know Astra is a very popular one. And the free one is pretty good, and the premium one, like it must do more, have more functionality. So if we can do that next week, I think that'd be very helpful.
Absolutely. Next week, we're going to go through the free version. We're going to show you how to look for the free version, what are the do's and don'ts. We're going to also show you some of the most popular premium themes, right? And even if you go to a company called Theme Forest, for example, Theme Forest is a website where it's an amazing company. I met the founder. They were here in Austin a couple years ago in South by Southwest. Two founders, actually, very amazing, from Australia, by the way. So what they do, they basically help all these developers to make their own plugin and themes and use the Theme Forest as a distribution channel.
That's awesome.
So that means I'm making money because you're buying the template.
Yeah, they're helping you. Yeah, that's crazy.
And they don't do anything else. If I buy the template and there's an issue because I paid for it, I can just ask them for troubleshooting, and that's about it, right? So imagine you developers like Charles here. If Charles wants to make a nice, awesome looking plugin, a specific plugin or a template for a specific niche, he can actually sell it there, because they do have extensive in-depth analysis. They don't just let anybody in. So they have to do a research. They have to test the theme, the coding, making sure there's no hacking, loopholes, anything like that. Once you get approved, then you're going to be in the Theme Forest. And the same thing goes to the free theme, right? So be very careful. Don't go to Google and type a free WordPress template dentist. Don't do that, because if you find a free theme within Google that is not part of the WordPress.org repository system, there's a chance that it might have like a hacking loophole or some sort of malicious code on the back end. So you got to be careful. So even if you get the free version, which we're going to talk next week, you have to get it from within the WordPress network.
So then, okay, that's a great point. So if I am getting a theme and or plugin through the WordPress network, does that generally mean it is safe?
Correct, because the WordPress community, this amazing geeks and nerd community that love to help. Really, I admire them, because imagine they have a full-time job and they're just doing this so you can have this free option. Make sense? So they triple check. They 10 times they check and make sure that whatever the free template that goes within the WordPress network community, it is not hackable, it is not malicious code based, it is not something broken. So that's the safest part. I see Charles asking question, what are the most popular myth about WordPress? The most popular myth, they said, it's not secure. Okay. That's the most popular myth. WordPress by design, because it is built by this amazing open source. If you understand the concept of open source, like Linux is the most powerful operating system, way better than the ridiculous, crappy Windows, right? The blue screen of death and whatnot. But Linux, if you install it on a PC, it can work as powerful as Mac, right? But it's done by open source community. So WordPress is also based on open source community. So by design, it's actually powerful. It is not weak. When some people say, oh, it's not secure. No, it's not about not secure. It's about people don't know how to use a password and username, or they host it on a crappy hosting, cheap companies, and they don't practice, common sense when it comes to security. That's why. But by design, WordPress is actually secure.
So when we talk about plugins, are we also going to discuss some of the top security plugins?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool. All right, guys, we'll give a couple more minutes to ask any relevant questions to today's discussion on themes. Otherwise, I'm assuming next week will be maybe 3 or 4 times the length of today's interview, since we'll be going deeper into free versus premium themes, and we'll be looking at examples. We'll be looking at WordPress.org to look at the ones that they recommend or are most popular, most downloaded. Yeah. So let's give it about a minute for some questions. Go ahead, Yusuf.
Sure. And the thing I want to remind all our people that what I love about WordPress, man, I mean, WordPress always amazes me. I mean, to a point, it's like if a client wants something complicated, like a complicated process or a complicated e-commerce optimization or technique, in most cases, you'll find it. Somebody else, this amazing developer, created for us.
This geek or this nerd.
Yeah. So the thing, these amazing geeks and nerds, like they build this for us and makes our process much easier, makes our time a little bit efficient. I mean, it's unheard of to build let's say, e-commerce website in less than like 2 or 3 months. It's unheard of. But you can definitely do that with WordPress because it comes with a lot of applications that you can actually work on it. That's why it's kind of an inside joke when we say like there's a plugin for that, right? Like it's an inside joke. And I highly recommend also for a lot of folks out there that are non-techies, if you want to keep learning WordPress, I highly recommend checking that site, Bulky, WPBeginner.com. Amazing website. I love his content because the way he explains things, very simple English with images and videos. And if you join his Facebook WP Beginner non-techie group, a lot of people there are beginners, and each one of them help each other. Bring me any other group that does that. I'm not saying Drupal and Joomla and other people don't do it. When it comes to this WordPress community, I'm like, wow, it's just like constant stuff. Like I'm learning even yesterday, I was going through some of the questions. I'm like, wow, there's a plugin for this. I didn't know that. So
what's the name of the Facebook group?
It's Facebook. Let me pull it up here. It's a WP Beginner Engage WordPress Help for Non-Techies.
WP Beginner Engage
WordPress Help for Non-Techies. So the actual link is facebook.com/groups/WP Beginner. That is the actual group. So there's no sale there. There's no promotion. Everything's about you ask question, you get the help. Okay. So it's an amazing, amazing community. So that's number one. The other one of my friend, Jared Gucci, who's founder of WP Fix-It. He also has another group called the WordPress Help and Share. That's another one I'm going to share next week, because it's very good to have, for example, if you engage with the local meetup network community, that's one. And also if you engage with 1 or 2 Facebook group that they have a community of WordPress developers and business like yourself that need the help that they want. Okay, here's another question from Charles. If a business owner can learn WordPress, why should he or she hire a developer? That's a good question. They don't have to. Okay, they don't have to, man. But the thing is this, Charles, most businesses don't have the time, first of all, to learn. That's, in my experience, most of them don't want to learn. You know why? Because they know what can they do best in their business. Does that make sense? They are busy taking care of their business. Even if they learn, because for example, WordPress has a lot of update, a lot of new things. You can't be just keep maintaining it. I mean, in more than a decade helping customers, I probably have like 1 or 2 clients that really does this stuff. That's this thing by themselves. I still got paid for training them, right? But anytime they need help or update or issues, they still get back to me, right? So I would say from experience that most businesses are not going to learn. But even if they do, that is not their thing. Their thing is to take care of the business, to take care of the customer. Makes sense? So that's why I tell people that, look, don't worry about sharing the knowledge. Share everything. Tell them everything how it works. Don't hide, right? Don't hide. If you know how ads work, show them how the Google and the Bing and the social ad works. If you know SEO, show them. If you show them how you build a WordPress site, show them. Because with your skill and knowledge, Charles, guess what? You can actually take that information, that knowledge, and sell it in Udemy or Teachable or your local universities. Because I get invited to local universities to give a talk on digital marketing, right? So it can happen to you too. So don't worry about that. What if the business is going to learn this? Well, let them learn. That's good. You got to share, man. So don't be scared.
I think his question is, but if people can learn it, why should they hire a developer? And I think that unless you're making this like a 40-hour-a-week endeavor and you're willing to put years and years into it, if someone who's already been doing it for 10 years, right? They're going to have a certain expertise. Or for example, something that might take me 20 hours to do, maybe you can do it in 2 or 3 hours. So it comes down to how much is my 20 hours worth to me?
Absolutely.
If my 20 hours is worth me paying you for your 2 hours of value, then I can pay you for it, right?
Absolutely. You have to correct. I have clients that used to come to my workshop for like almost 2 years. They know how to build it.
Yeah.
Right. But guess what? They still hire me. Right? Because they understand the value. Because they understand. Oh wow, this thing takes a lot of time. Takes a lot of work. Takes maintenance. Take this. I mean, again, most businesses, even if you teach them, they are not going to do it. I'm speaking from experience. Not like this is what I've seen over the years. That's why I'm not afraid to teach people how. In fact, it is good for me because if I teach how it's done, I don't need to hire every client that I see. I just got to pick the one that is good and just work with them. I'd rather have few clients that pay enough than having like 20 million clients.
My man,
overwhelmed, you know.
I mean, that's what you have.
Yeah, that's how to look at it. So don't be scared. In fact, the fact that you are even teaching other people, that shows you how confident you are, that you're not afraid, you're not hiding anything, and that also shows you the true sincerity when it comes to this concept of really sharing. Because some people claim they share, but actually they don't. They just want to make a sale. I mean, you can see it from their language, from their behavior. Some people, even make ads or content and act like they care about you. Like nowadays, they use the COVID. Oh, look, COVID situation. We have a new software. Want to help you, but hey, pay us like $1,000. That's not help.
There's this guy I keep seeing on Facebook, man. He keeps every post is about signing up for his masterclass. Every post. And I'm like, and it's like sponsored and not many comments, not many likes. And I'm just like, man, it's like this guy's pushing really hard for us to sign up for his course. And then he's not giving much value in the posts themselves. So
that's the problem, because if we truly, like nowadays, if you truly understand that people are really struggling and suffering, right? I don't want to exploit them. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show them how things are working, right? And most people are not going to take any action. So if the few of them took the action, and they saw result, what is going to happen? Good people, sincere people are going to come back to you. And they're going to tell you, hey, man, you taught me this. I'm actually starting to make money. Can we collaborate? Can you work together? Can I give you something? That's what always happened with me. Makes sense? Because you have to truly give it back. You don't want to manipulate. So that's why I have a problem with all these so-called gurus out there. Yeah, that they exploit the situation. Oh, we have a solution for you, but you have to pay. I'm like, don't say that you're helping. Just say I'm starting a service.
I mean, people can do what they want. They can charge $1 million for their products, and if people want to pay, that's up to them. But it's when they conflate being salesmen with because it's become a marketing tool and technique, right? Which is show what's the word I'm looking for? That you care, that you have empathy, that you're very concerned with the well-being of the person that you're saying. So instead of that being the actual case, which it was what it should be, that should be the foundation of the relationship. It's turned into, okay, is this the latest and greatest marketing tool? I'm going to do it. I'm going to be empathetic. I'm going to show that I'm about diversity. I'm going to show I'm about XYZ, as opposed to actually believing in those things. So
absolutely. I see Brother Muhammad Shirazi, mashallah, in the house. Wa alaikum salam, akhi. How are you? That's a homeboy from Chicago, man. He's the owner of Islamic Oasis, mashallah. So you're absolutely correct. I mean, if you do want to help people, like, just say it. Because a couple of years ago, I did a webinar with one of my business associates, and the first thing I put in the beginning of the webinar, listen, I'm doing this webinar so I can earn your business. Just want to let you know from the beginning. Other people don't do that. Other people, oh, look, a free training, get in, and I don't do that. If I want to hire you as a customer, I'm going to tell you up front. I'm teaching you this because I want you to become my customer. Just want to let you know up front.
Of course.
That's it. Just be open about it.
So I think, Yusuf, we've definitely covered the themes, introduction to themes. So next week, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to be talking about free versus premium themes. So tune in. And if you enjoyed the video and you benefited, as Yusuf mentioned, please like it, share it. It's free knowledge. There's nothing wrong with sharing the knowledge. So please go ahead and do that. And I guess, Yusuf, we'll see you next week, my friend.
Likewise, bro. Take care.
You too, my man.